Hey everybody, we're back. Coon Prairie Ramblers. Almost messed up there. Coon Prairie Ramblers. Confabulating, mind meandering. We got the wagon circled up. We got Casey and the Moonshine Gang, Luke the Rebel Without a Clue, and me, Melman. And we were talking about grandparents, and we didn't get to hear about Luke's grandparents.
No big deal. I was named for my grandfather, and he was dead before I was born, so I didn't know him, but I did know my grandmother from North Florida, and I knew my mother's parents briefly. They died when I was really young, and oddly they were divorced for a lot of years, and they died within just a few months of each other. They lived in different towns, but I got to know when I was really young. They were from up in the North Florida area, northeast Florida, up in near Jacksonville, a place called Mayport, where my grandmother was from. But I got to know them briefly, and didn't have them very long in my life, but my one grandmother lived until 79, so I got to know her pretty well. So we'll have to, while we're talking about our grandparents and stuff, if we all have photographs, maybe we can get them to Melman, and he can, while you're hearing all this stuff, you can be seeing pictures of them, and maybe us with them would be kind of cool too.
Yeah, I got pictures, just don't have any stories.
Well, put the pictures with it. That'll work.
We could make up some stories.
What did What did you call your grandparents?
My grandmother was, I don't remember what I called my mother's parents because they died when I was so young, but my dad's mom I called Granny. She liked Granny, and there were 3 or 4 cousins ahead of me that had already been born, so they'd already was calling her Granny, so I just fell in line with them.
I love a granny that ain't afraid to be a granny.
Ain't afraid to be
Ain't afraid to be called a granny. That wears it proud and
that's right.
Embraces the fact that they're a granny. Don't try to hide it.
It's a southern thing.
Be a granny. I like it.
But your grandkids call you Poppy, and they call you Pop.
Pops.
They call me Pop.
And they call my wife Nina.
Nina?
Nina?
Yeah.
That's different.
Like N-E-E-N-A. Yeah, that's one of those made-up things. Personally, I don't embrace it. But
I'm Papa, and my wife is Grandma. What do they call you, Mel?
Well, you know what? I only got 3 grandkids, and I haven't had. They live far away. You haven't
been named yet.
No.
You're the grandfather yet to be named.
Yeah, and they're fairly young, you know. And, yep, it just hasn't happened yet.
You could be the grandmel.
I'll be a really old guy by the time I get any grandparents. Grandkids.
Well, you will be real well prepared for it, and you got to look.
That's right.
Yeah,
sure do. That beard, very grandfatherly. But what do you like about being a grandparent, or not like?
Well, you spoil them and feed them and give them what they are not supposed to get, and then send them home.
That's kind of like buying somebody a coat and shaking it up and handing it to them when they ain't looking.
Exactly.
Well, KC, your grandchild, whenever she seems to be a really hard worker and really diligent about the house and very helpful to you, it appears.
You're talking about Skeeter.
Is
that her name? Skeeter?
Skyler. Skyler, but I like Skeeter better. Skeeter's a cool name.
Yeah, Skeeter, that's something you smack, right?
That's better not smack her.
They smack you back?
Probably. Probably so. You like being a grandfather, grandpa?
I love it.
Yeah?
I love it. I would trade it for anything.
Do you do any discipline?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I've never laid hands on mine.
I don't lay hands on them, but not in a spiritual way or in a correction way. But, yeah, we get on to them.
Yeah.
You got to do some of that. You can't give them everything.
It's all verbal then. I remember, now, I do remember it was a step-grandfather. My grandmother was, widowed, and so all the time I knew her, she was just widowed. But there was a step-grandpa, way back when I was like in early teens. And I remember as a kid, I don't think this guy ever talked. He didn't say me. He always stood around on the porch and went, and just kind of hummed. Or
how do you do that again?
He played the juice harp, doing, and he was just a country guy, and he didn't talk. And one time I'd walking past him, and I'm thinking, this guy never talked to me. One time I walked past him on his back, in back of him. He's standing at the pole on the porch, and I, walked past him, and all of a sudden I felt his foot kick me in the hind end. He just kind of from his back.
Oh boy!
And I thought, years later, at that time, I'm thinking, oh, what'd I do? I didn't do nothing. I'm thinking, years later I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, well, maybe that was just his way of, connecting,
That's right.
Yeah. He was just a quiet
He was
guy.
putting his best foot forward.
Yeah.
Your behind just happened to be in the way.
Yeah. I'm thinking, well, maybe that was just his way of saying howdy. I don't
I don't know
know.
if I need friends like that.
I remember his was the first funeral I ever went to that I remembered. And I remember sitting there looking at him, and I'm thinking, when's he going to breathe? Now, I'm a young kid,
Apparently.
I'm thinking, I know he's dead. You've ever experienced that, one of the first bodies you're looking at, and thinking, man, that's weird. The chest doesn't come up. Well, of course they're dead. You ever struggled with that when you was a kid,
Not the breathing part. It was weird seeing somebody dead when I was real young.
Yeah, and their lips look funny, and and their eyes are like plastered shut, And
I remember they picked me up and held me over the casket to give my grandmother on my mother's side a hug or whatever. And that was kind of freaky and creepy. They kind of held me down in there.
Yeah, I don't think that's
not held me down. They lowered me. I
don't think that's
that. They didn't toss me in and hold me down. I should have been screaming.
The lid.
Yeah, that'll teach you.
Yeah, well, it would be great joke.
Yeah, I've heard about them people.
See what'll happen if you're a bad boy.
I'd have been in therapy. I guarantee it all my life. I like being a grandparent. It's fun to spoil them, and it's fun to see them experience things for the first time. And I think you're more prepared as a grandparent than you were as a parent because you've already gone through that and you know a little bit more about what to do and what not to do.
Yeah.
And things like that. I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, it seems like maybe most people shouldn't have kids until they're in their 30s or something.
Yeah, they should just skip the kids and go straight to the grandkids, as they say. If you could do that.
I should have. Yeah. I'm sure I'm a better grandparent than I was a parent.
It's a lot more fun. But don't you hate to see sometimes your kids getting onto their kids when you want to get onto them for doing that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's kind of.
I do.
Don't be so hard on them or whatever.
Yeah.
And they say, well, hey, you were beating me all the time, and you did this and did that. And
well, you deserved it.
you're like a changed person.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've done that. Had 6 kids, and later kids thinking, "Well, hey," or the older kids said, "Hey, I didn't get away with that stuff."
That's exactly right.
I'm thinking, well, I've gotten older and I've learned, and there's,
alternative.
You've changed. You change your way of doing things.
You mellow out in your old age. Something about being a grandparent. I can't imagine being a great grandparent. I hope I live long enough. That would be even cooler.
That's when you're sitting there and the kids are walling all over you, and you're about ready to fall out of
Get
your
off
chair.
of me, kid! Sometimes I find myself being less patient than I used to be.
Yeah.
But I stifle that.
I think I'm a lot. People always said I was very patient, but I think I'm a lot more patient than I ever was before.
Really?
Yeah. Resilient, or I can go to church and put up with other people's noisy kids even better now. It doesn't bother me. Used to hey, shut that kid up,
Weird. It's no matter how old you get. This is me, and I've talked to other people, and they said the same thing. That no matter how old you get, you can be in the mall somewhere, and you hear a little girl say, "Daddy," and you're going to look around.
Oh, yeah.
Even though your daughter's grown and gone.
Right.
I'll always do that. Well, we're down to about a minute. What you got to say about it, Casey?
About the discipline?
Anything.
I'm just happy that I got the privilege to be a grandfather to some wonderful grandparents, children. I mean, they're not perfect, but I mean, I wouldn't want them to be any different. I wouldn't change them. I mean, they're perfect to me,
It truly is a privilege.
It is, and you should take it that way. You should make it more difficult than what it is. I think we're made to be more like friends to them than the parents are.
Well, happy Grandparents' Day, everybody. We got to get out of here, and we'll come back with the What If bomb shortly.